What's up guys, guess who is back? Carlos here with another video where we talk cars, money, investing. It's been more than a month now, right? Since my last posting. As you can see, brand new setup, new space, basically busy with relocation to a new home office and a little bit of a studio kind of setup. And that's been pretty busy for the last couple of months. And as in, I've been still working on cars, but haven't been really had the time to kind of curate some content. But of course, I've been planning a bunch of stuff and then looking forward to 2023. Still buying tons of things, and just trying to find the right time to just sit down and really put my thoughts into getting up some good content. And I've done that, got a bunch of things been lined up, so this is more like a welcome back kind of video, and just to it's been a while, right, so to you guys. So I thought this would be a good time to talk about a recap for 2022 from my perspective and what I'm looking forward to 2023. I'm not going to show you guys any pickups or anything like that, maybe just a couple of cars, but more to talk about my overall feel on 2022 and what am I looking at to 2023. Of course, I think everybody knows the fact that things are not as bullish in terms of the car market, but definitely there is still opportunities to make some money. So let's talk about 2022 first. I think in earlier 2022, my first few videos I talked about me getting out of sports, right? So sports was really hot in 2021. All of us knew about that, right? The Jordans went up to the moon, 700,000, and then things came coming down, and I actually totally got out of sports in early 2022. Moving on to Marvel, and Marvel was kind of a big thing, especially around January, February 2022 when the Atlanta Cultural Collision happened, and that's everything went crazy. I did a video on that whereby I had put together a PMG Blue set that I sold for $48,000, and that kind of kicked the ball rolling for the rest of the year, right? Going to Marvel, and then transitioning into F1, and then of course right now back into sports again. But as a summary, I think that you've seen some content of people or some writers like Tanking Analysis talks about the car market prices going down about 40% for the entire year. For me, fortunately, I probably made a bit of loss definitely on the sports side, but not a significant amount of loss. I'm talking about maybe 3 to 5%. Been very careful with what I've been buying, despite selling a bunch of stuff at a loss in the later part of the year, but compensating back in other areas as well. Marvel obviously was pretty good to me. Overall, I think I did about 50k profit, 55k profit for the year. It was much greater than the first half of the year, obviously, when things were pretty booming. I sold a lot of my Marvel cards, and I still got a couple of pieces here. I still have I think the Wolverine here, and I saw this picked up recently, and Iron Man here. You guys can see this from my IG. So still a bit slow on Marvel, but just waiting on what's happening in this year. Of course, there was a Spider-Man metal towards August of 2022. I didn't get involved in that, so there was a lot of hype in that. Prices didn't really go crazy, lots of boxes being sold, but I didn't really touch on that. And really trying to reconsolidate my card position in terms of moving back into the NBA for the start of the season. Right, pretty awesome season so far as the games are concerned, but the card prices are still pretty much on a holding pattern. People are still talking about when the knife is going to stop falling, but I think prices are kind of leveling out in my opinion. Right, they're still trending. Certain cards are closing at roughly my expectations. You won't see big drops, especially on the more established players like the Jordans, the Kobe's, the LeBrons. Definitely there is some ups and downs on who's hot at the moment. Lauri Markkanen, for example, is going crazy. We have Bobo phenomenon back at some point, but certain players like Zion, who's balling out pretty awesome, but card prices are still not reflecting what his performance on the court. Ja, on the other hand, kind of overtaken Zion at the moment, so he's been doing pretty awesome. So what's the deal, going to 2023? What's good to pick up? I think that definitely overall, on a general basis, you still have to be extreme caution of what you should actually be picking up. Neo just released a video on his strategy for 2023, and I share a lot of his points to what he actually mentioned. Like for example, sub $200 cards, or in fact less than 200 to 300. I think that's the sweet spot. cars are pretty selling well, especially for myself also. Some cars has between 150 to about 250 has been doing all right. Anything above 500 has been quite a challenge at the moment. At one point, I was picking up a lot of autos for Stephen Curry, for Luka, around the 800 to 1100 range, and I had a bit of difficulty moving some of these cars, and in the end I kind of break even on most of them, right? But it's quite I would say nerve-wracking to hold multiple $1,000 pieces of cars and then trying to flip them to thinking that you can make that maybe 15-20% profit, which is equivalent to about 100 to about $200, but end of the day you just make like $20 and you're pretty happy. You're better off just selling $200 cards and making the same $20 and you get less amount of stress and less amount of worries. And you can go into multiple directions and multiple players, right? Not necessarily fixed on that one big Curry or the one big LeBron. And that's essentially what I'm looking at. I'm also looking at 90s inserts. So the back in 1997 inserts, I've been buying a couple like Titanium. I think a couple of Jordans and Kobe's. Perhaps when I get a mail day, I'm going to share with you guys buying them raw and sending them for grading. And of course, with those 90s inserts, condition sensitive, so don't expect PSA 10s all around for those kind of cards. So when you're buying, of course, price sensitive, condition is of course important. Try the best you can, looking at the photos. PSA 8, PSA 9, that's roughly where you'll be looking at, but that's a lot of value, right? So you're talking about buying raw cards for 100 to 150, paying the grading fees. Grading fees are really low now, between $15 to $20, and then having them flip back a PSA 9 maybe for like $250, $280 net. Making about like $40-50 a card, pretty decent. Lots of work, but definitely kind of more assuring in terms of the returns, as opposed to trying to buy $1,000 Curry card and just waiting on the right buyer to come and pay you $1,200. For me personally, I'm still based in Malaysia, so obviously I still don't have access to shows and things. And I know back in the States over there, things are reopened. You guys can actually go out to shows, but of course, I think there's also a sentiment that shows are kind of slow at the moment. But that's also an opportunity for you to get those cards in front of people and then try to push it out. Whereas I don't have that opportunity. I'm still relying on eBay. So when you're trying to factor in, trying to make a 15 to 20% return, eBay charges us another 15% fees. That's you gotta market things up by like 30 to 35%, which is actually very, very high. So considering that you buy a car for $1,000, you gotta price it about like 1,500 or best offer, right? And people are going to look at the comps and say, hey, it's about $1,000 and just offer you like maybe if you're lucky 1,100, but that's not even enough to cover the fees. So that's pretty challenging, as compared to you bring a car to a show. Maybe you just take the thing, all right, 1,100, make the $100 minus your gas and taking like $50-60 profit and then move along. Easily done, but for me, it's tough, right? So it just stacks against me. So I have to be very careful what I buy and some of the strategies that I employ. So I kind of picked out a few stuff. Can see the stats lately, 1-on-1s, right? Got Scotty Barnes, Franz Wagner, here. So I like encased cards, 1-on-1 especially. So there is this thing about having to sell them without grading, because there's not necessarily, if they come encased, it's going to be a PSA 10 or a BGS 9.5, but people like to buy encased slabs because there's an opportunity to get a higher grade. And for me, it's like I'm just trying to bank on trying to make a profit on the potential upside as opposed to the upside itself, because there's no guarantee that what you're going to get when you break it out of the case, but you definitely can make some profit while selling it in the case. So it depends on how much money you want to get in return. So for me, I think that if I hold on to these RPAs, for one season, like Cade Cunningham to the next season, I think I most probably can secure a minimum of 10 to 15% return. Whereas if I crack it open and it comes out at 9, I may actually just break even once I grading fees, but perhaps we have to lose a whole year of holding onto the card. So that's the little thing that I'm actually considering about and something to think about for the rest of the year. But again, for me, 90s inserts for sports, especially basketball, is the one thing that I want to look at. And whatever that's available in the market, right? The only thing that I'm for sure that's not buying now is Formula One. So Formula One's been pretty bad for me in 2022. I also have bullish on trying to figure out what the market was going to do, and I thought I could have a good handle of that. And I actually shared my strategy in the video that I did, but things didn't go very well. I think I did a total revenue for about like 15 to 18K, I think, for in 2022, but I lost almost $10,000 on Formula One. So that alone brought down my overall returns for the whole year, kind of like just sucking the losses. Still holding on to the biggest Formula One car I have, which is this Lewis Hamilton Gold Wave Refractor. It's not about 50, but I don't know. New season starting soon, so maybe things are hyping up. Maybe I should just get off my Formula 1 position. I don't have that many cars left, but just want to try and salvage some of the losses that I did from last year. If I can, and just break even and then just move on and just consolidate everything into either Marvel or sports. Also touching on a bit, I shared on my IG, if you guys follow, I like some Star Wars and more. This is just a personal thing, so it's not about investment at the moment for Star Wars, but definitely there is a huge following for Star Wars. New Ahsoka series. If you guys watch Andor was pretty great, and I do recommend, if you're trying to catch up on Star Wars, do watch the Clone Wars series from season 1 right up to season 7. I kind of like binge watch the Clone Wars between around November to December. It's just awesome, right? So I do recommend, at least for entertainment purposes, if you guys do enjoy a good Star Wars show. Alright, so that's more or less the recap and more welcome back video. And I'm gonna produce more direct content, talk about specifics, investment opportunities, talk about certain cards and certain things that are happening going on in the market in my subsequent videos. Alright, so once again, do like, subscribe, follow my channel, and hopefully I'm gonna do lots and lots of good stuff in this upcoming year. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next one. Kabos out.